What's going on, Broncos country? And shout out to everyone that woke up a national champion today. It's a great feeling, not going to lie. But on today's video, we're going to run through some winners and losers from the entire offseason for Denver. From the day the cuts started happening, through free agency, through the draft, through minicamp and OTAs, who came out smelling the best and who came out smelling the worst. Now, before we get to our first winner from the offseason, we are getting closer and closer to our next milestone for MJ, 23,000 subscribers. We are a little over 300 subs away. So help us reach 22,700 subscribers, and then we can make one big push to 23K. Now, my first winner from this offseason has got to be Sean Payton. There's a lot of reasons why I think Sean Payton is a winner this offseason, but I think the biggest reason is, well, there's 39 million reasons to think why Sean Payton is a winner this offseason. He got the Broncos ownership to sign off on paying Russell Wilson $39 million to leave. I mean, you don't have to be a football expert or a business savant to know getting someone to pay another person $39 million to leave to make your life better is not an easy thing to convince someone to do. But Sean Payton was able to do that. And if he truly feels like he can finally get this team going in the right direction for the first time since 2015, and it's at the price of paying $39 million for Russell Wilson to F off, then he's getting his wish, and we'll see if it's the right one. But that definitely makes him a winner for getting what he wants. Now, what he doesn't want is obviously the constraints of moving on from Russell Wilson, which is an $85 million dead cap hit. And that is an unfortunate, byproduct of moving on from Russell Wilson. It's more than double what the previous leading NFL dead cap hit leader was, Matt Ryan, leaving the Falcons or getting traded from the Falcons to the Colts. But still, you got to envision that the conversations that Sean Payton had with ownership, and the Walton Penner Group is the richest ownership group in the entire National Football League. They are richer than second and third combined. So $39 million is a little bit of a drop in the bucket to them, but it's still $39 million. Like, that's still, even to a billionaire, a good chunk of change, I'd have to envision. But for him to get approval on $39 million in cash, not just cap hit, but just cash owed to the player to move on from him and still pay him that salary despite him not being an employee for you, and to take it one step further, tell ownership, we're also going to be hamstringed by an $85 million dead cap hit for the next 2 seasons, which will make it tough for us to keep some of our other good players and sign good players, but I still think we'll be a better team as a result of this. I mean, the guy's either a master manipulator or he's a genius, and time will tell which one it is. Now, we're going to look at our first loser from the offseason, but what's your confidence level in Sean Payton? Because it's all chips in on Sean Payton, right? He is driving the bus right now. He got ownership to sign off on moving on from Russell Wilson. He got to pick what it sounds like was the quarterback of his dreams, probably after like Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. He seemed to like Bo Nix more than J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, and Drake May even, who all went before Bo Nix. So right now, Sean Payton is getting what he wants, and it's on him to deliver because all of our eggs are in his basket. So confidence level in Payton, scale it 1 to 10. Now, our first loser is a bit of a creative one, and it's the Bo Nix haters. And I'm partially included in this group. Like, I'm not going to hide away from the fact that Bo Nix was not a prospect that I was super high on and mocking Denver to draft in round 1. But I do think it's important for everyone watching right now to just kind of take a step back and go, just because you are not a fan of the selection or the decision that the team made doesn't mean you all automatically hate that team and want them to fail, right? Just my opinion was I wasn't super high on Bo Nix. But Bo Nix, since being drafted, has looked really good so far in OTAs and minicamp. I am rooting for Bo Nix to be successful on this team. We all should be. And for anyone that thought the Broncos were going to take Bo Nix, which I had almost every single mock draft of mine having Bo Nix go to Denver in round 2. I just didn't have a first-round grade on him. But for anyone that didn't think Denver was going to take Bo Nix, they are definitely on the wrong side of history at the moment, because sure enough, with pick number 12, that's where Denver went. But no doubt in my mind, the Bo Nix haters, anyone that did not want Bo Nix to be the selection, definitely a loser for this offseason. And we're not going to know whether or not they are right or wrong for that feeling for probably a little while. Like, I don't think you can make a clear judgment after just one season unless it's another like Nathaniel Hackett type case where it's so blaringly obvious that this is not the right situation and fit. But for the time being, the Bo Nix haters, they are definitely in their caves right now and probably are secretly hoping to be proven right. I hate when fans do that, though, where it's like, if it's better for my take but worse for the team, I'm going to root for that. No, root for what's ever best for your fandom, even if that means you were wrong. Second winner, Marvin Mims. Why is Marvin Mims a winner? Well, when you look at Denver's wide receiver depth chart here, Marvin Mims hopped up a couple of spots, right? They move on from Jeudy, and that's I think a big part is why they were comfortable with moving on from Jeudy was because they had Marvin Mims in their farm system coming up the ranks and a lot of confidence in Marvin Mims to take over as that number 2 guy after Courtland Sutton. So for Mims, there's definitely a ton of confidence and faith from the organization placed in him going, listen, we moved on from Jeudy for a handful of reasons, to get some more draft assets, to get a big contract for his 5th year, fully guaranteed off our books because we were in cap hell, and we felt like we could make this move because we like what we have in the second-year man from Oklahoma. Now, last season, we didn't see a whole lot of Marvin Mims after the first few weeks of the season. 22 grabs, 377 yards, 1 touchdown. He was electric in that Washington Commanders game in September. And then for one reason or another, he kind of got put on the shelf offensively and just became a return specialist. But I'm really big on Marvin Mims this season, and I'll expand on that later in the video too. Second loser, Justin Simmons. I hate that Justin Simmons became a loser this offseason for the Broncos, but unfortunately, just releasing him alone does not make him a loser. But the fact that he was released and it's been 3 months now and no one has signed him, I don't understand how it's possible. There are some things in sports that if a casual fan is watching and doesn't understand, you can explain it to them and they'll go, okay, I guess that makes some sense. It just seems weird at first. This one, I can't explain to anyone. I don't know why Justin Simmons is still unsigned. I think he's a top 5 safety in the NFL. A top 5 player at any position is on the street right now. I don't know if it's because he has some ridiculous asking price that he won't come down from, but he's got 9 interceptions the last 2 seasons combined. He's got the most interceptions since entering the league in 2016. He's a fantastic human being. He is an awesome presence in the locker room and in the community. I don't know why Justin Simmons is unsigned, but I do know that had he not been released, he would have made in cash about $14.5 million. We're now approaching July, and I don't think there's a $14 million contract offer coming his way. Teams' cap space have dried up. Money has been used on other players, and I do expect him to get signed at some point, but it's not going to be for $14 million. In fact, I think it'll be for somewhere around $7 million. I could see him getting a 1-year, $5 million contract worth up to $7 million in incentives from like the Rams. And that may be the best offer he gets. And that's a tough pill to swallow. For him to go from making 14 to half of that, and your reasoning could be, oh, well, that's because he was bad last year. No, he wasn't. He was great last year. I mean, there's a lot of cases where players get released because they're not living up to their contract. That wasn't the case for Simmons. Justin Simmons was unfortunately a casualty of the Broncos not having a ton of cap space, taking on a huge dead cap hit because of Russell Wilson, and needing to generate cap space by moving on from good players like Justin Simmons just to get under that salary cap number. And now Justin Simmons is still on the street, and he's playing some of the best football of his career. So I feel bad for the guy. I mean, he is not someone that just, got old and started to crumble a little bit. Nope. Justin Simmons, still a really good safety, still unsigned, and he'll probably make half of what he was going to make originally this upcoming season. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Do you want to re-sign Justin Simmons? Every single day that passes where Simmons goes unsigned, there's just a little bit more chatter about, well, maybe Denver could bring him back after all. I don't get the sense whatsoever that that's going to happen. Not just because they gave Chris Abrams-Drain, the rookie from Mizzou, his number 31, which is going to be weird to see this season. That's not the reason why. But I feel like Denver signing Brandon Jones, that was the direction they wanted to head with their budget for the safety room. So had they not signed Brandon Jones from the Dolphins on a 3-year, $20 million contract. Okay, but they did spend that money on him. And they re-signed P.J. Locke, or they tendered P.J. Locke. Like, they have already put a lot of cash into the safety room for what they are willing to spend at that position, and I don't think Simmons is going to come back as a result. Now, before we get to the next winner and loser on today's video, if you want to get a Bo Nix jersey, these sales come and go on Fanatics, but if you don't wait too long, you can get a 25% off at chatsports.com/NixJersey. I put that link for everyone in the comments and description of today's video. But get your hands on a brand new Broncos jersey because they have new jerseys this year, and hopefully they're brand new franchise quarterback for years to come. Third and final winner, I'm going to go with DJ Jones. Could have gone a handful of different directions at this spot, but I think DJ Jones is a worthy candidate to be an offseason winner because he did not play his best football last year. Pro Football Focus ranked him 80th out of 130 qualifying interior defensive linemen. 46 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. He was the anchor of a bottom 3 run defensive unit. That's not a good thing to be a part of, right? And to be the leader of that really poor run-stopping unit. But despite that, and despite the fact that DJ Jones was entering the final year of a 3-year, $30 million contract with a $12.9 million cap hit and virtually no dead cap hit, the Broncos stuck by him. And so he's going to make $10 million in cash this offseason. I mean, there was a long run of notable players getting the axe from the Broncos. Russell Wilson, Justin Simmons, released. Jeudy, traded. Lloyd Cushenberry signs the biggest contract in center history with the Tennessee Titans in free agency. Josey Jewell signs with the Panthers in free agency. Like, the Broncos were moving on from a lot of really good players, core starters, core pieces of their locker room. And somehow DJ Jones, I don't want to say slipped through the cracks, but he kind of slipped through the cracks. Like, he easily could have been a part of this list here with the cap hit he had this season, having a down season, and not a huge dead cap hit either. That could have been viewed as, all right, we can save some money by moving on from DJ Jones instead of doing one of these other moves like trading Jeudy or releasing Justin Simmons. Instead, they decided to keep DJ Jones. And for him, how could he not be happy about that? He gets to make $10 million this year. If he was released, no way he would make $10 million from another team this upcoming season. Before we sign off and get on out of here, it's time for our summer hot takes to wrap up the video. It's a hot day in Denver today. 96 degrees, 97, I think the high. So it's a dry heat hot take. It's going to be one of our spiciest, hottest takes we'll give out on the channel. And for me, I'll say Marvin Mims will lead the Broncos in receiving yards with 850. I don't think we're going to see a 1,000-yard receiver in this Bo Nix-led offense for the first year of his NFL career, but I could see the young quarterback and the young wide receiver starting to gain a connection and chemistry, which on paper, that might not make a ton of sense because Bo Nix at Oregon, he always kept things close to the line of scrimmage. Marvin Mims at Oklahoma was always a vertical threat down the field. So they may not look like a perfect fit, but this is just more of your football gut feeling rather than analytically driven take here. I just think it's going to work for one reason or another.